Hey, it's Mike. We're live from the Cottage for the first time in 2024, and this is Grab a Stack of Rock.
Friday night, we're rocking the races. Come and see familiar faces. Uncle Meat, Rob Daniels, Jon Snow. Gibby's here, it's the place to go. Grab a stack of rock with Mike and the Bad Metal Band. Grab a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. T-Bone's here, it's time for a party. And Chris has got the comments started. Grab a stack of rock with Mike and the Bad Metal Band. Grab a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Grab a stack of rock. Grab a stack of rock.
Welcome to Grab a Stack of Rock. I am your host, as always, Mike. Jex Russell will be with us momentarily. But before we get started with the list show today, which, by the way, was Jex Russell's... No, it was my idea. Screw that. Yeah, it was my idea. Anyway, on with the show. We have some unboxings. And as we all know, Record Store Day was last Saturday. And as usual, I did not participate in Record Store Day, but I did snag this from Encore Records in Kitchener. And there were a number of records I was looking for, including the new Live Def Leppard. And there was an Eric Carr reissue of Unfinished Business that I wanted. So far, no luck there. But I did manage to get this from Encore Records. Highly recommended. It's the new Black Crowes single. There you go. Wanting Waiting, the Black Crowes. And this has an exclusive B-side, Morsels for Mongrels. So there we have. Oh, there, that's cool. Look at that. Very cool. Thank you, Encore Records. That was $17 for Wanting Waiting, Morsels for Mongrels. Second. We can just throw that in the fire. Second, we have from tpublic.com, we have the new Grab a Stack of Rock Lego shirt with Lego art by Harrison Kopp. And there is Lego Harrison right there. This is the tie-dye shirt, which I quite like a lot. This has back print, Grab a Stack logo on the back with the Lego portraits on the front. We have me, Eddie from the Made in Japan EP, Harrison. That's Jex Russell, the Grab a Stack logo. Uncle Meat, Dr. Catherine, Marco Doria, John T. Snow, the dude from the Judas Priest Firepower album, and Uncle Meat taking an ODP. So that is the newest Grab a Stack shirt. You can get that at tpublic.com, where you can also get this beautiful Tim's Vinyl Confessions 10th anniversary t-shirt. This is the Rush 2112 design. Very cool. So if you feel like supporting my channel or Tim's channel or John T. Snow's channel, that's an easy way to do it. It is really warm, Mom. It is really warm, and it is a cool shirt, and I'm wearing another one here. One final parcel to open, and I was hoping Jex would be here for this one, but we'll go on and open the parcel without him. Jex is he's so dedicated to work, you know, he can't come on until he's done. So last week with Grant Arthur on Grant's Rock Warehouse, we talked about a band called Kickaxe. There's a note here. I am missing, or was missing up until now, one Kickaxe song, just one. He'll be there in person soon. Thank you, Jex. I can't carry the show by myself, folks. That's why we have a fire to distract you. Funny story. Today I was at Glory Days Sports Bar for lunch, and they were playing a mix of 70s to 2010. Every other song. I looked up the artist for my daughter, and half were Canadian. We rock, buddy. Proud Canadians here. Anyway, I get distracted. Speaking of Canadian, on Grant Arthur's Grant Rock Warehouse, we did a band called Kickaxe from Regina, Saskatchewan. And up until this very moment, I was missing one Kickaxe song in my collection. You may know a song called Piece of the Rock, which was recorded by King Cobra back in the 80s. It was on their very first album, Ready to Strike. Well, that is actually technically a cover of a Kickaxe song, Piece of the Rock, which, according to Jex Russell, they recorded sometime around the Vices album. It's a part of a clutch of songs that they actually wrote intended for the next Black Sabbath album, which Spencer Proffer was producing. There's a note here from Jex. Thank you for everything you do. I appreciate your friendship greatly. One love, Jex Sider. And he did like a little muscle-bound Jex there on the note. So that note's a keeper. But here it is. Kickaxe Rock the World, featuring the bonus track, Piece of the Rock. Now, this is a completely different issue from the Rock Candy version of Rock the World that I have, that I showed off on Grant's show. Check out that show on Grant's Rock Warehouse. We did that last Thursday, but it broadcast on Saturday. And it was really, really good. We went from the very beginnings of Kickaxe to the present day. They have a new album coming. They have a new single out right now called Run to the Thunder. And how many bands with 4/5 of the original lineup that are this old are still out there doing it? Not very many. The only missing member today is George Christen, the original lead vocalist, who does sing on Rock the World. And that is a different album cover. That is a butt ugly album cover compared to the original Rock the World. Isn't it, though? So thank you, Jex Russell. So as we wait for the arrival of Jex, I'll just quickly explain what we are doing today, because I kind of screwed up, as always. I emailed Jex, or messaged Jex. Hey, thank you. And we have Tim's Vinyl Confessions in the house this afternoon. Hey, Tim, how you doing? I said to Jex, hey, Jex, how about for the first Cottage show of the season, we do songs to play with the windows down? And Jex was like, I'm on it. But then my brain went on a completely different track, and it was thinking in terms of physical product, because that's sort of an easy way for me to get people to watch my show, is by saying, hey, we're going to be showing off cool CDs, cool vinyl, or whatever. And it seems to be working somewhat. So with that in mind, I started making picks of albums, which is why you see top 11 albums to play with the windows down. Now, to be fair, I pretty much only play albums. I don't really play songs. I always play the disc through. And that's what I did on the way up to the Cottage. I won't tell you what album I played on the way up, because it will come into play shortly. But that's just the way I prefer to listen, as an album. And as we await Jex Russell, he is going to be bringing in his top 11 songs, because that's what I said to him in the original message before my brain went off track. And I'm going to be doing my top 11 albums, of which I've brought every single one here that I'm going to show on one format or another. And altogether, we have all 4 of the major audio formats that you would be listening to at your home, not necessarily in a car, because we've got vinyl, we have 8-track, we have cassette, and we have CD. And I look forward to showing off my picks tonight. And I'm glad Tim is here, because some of these picks he may appreciate for one reason or another, as we shall see. And again, Tim, we have these Tim's Vinyl Confession shirts celebrating his 10th anniversary. TVC 2014. Good going, Tim. You can get these shirts at tpublic.com. And we have Chris Preston in the house. Nice to see you, Chris, as always. Hope your weekend is off to a great start, playing hooky from work. See, Jex couldn't do that, and that's why we're waiting for Jex. And I don't want to get started on my list without him. I don't want to do that. So maybe I'll go and throw some sparklers in the fire and see what that does. And maybe when I come back, Jex will be with us. What a ripoff. I'm calling the police. Thanks for the support, Tim. Uh, there are some great movies that show that there's. Yes, I do know that. Yes. However, I think that was a fairly obscure feature, wasn't it? Tons of great stuff that came out today. New Lee Aaron, 40th anniversary of Pyromania, which I want very much. And we have Dogs of War, the new Motley Crue song, which I am kind of wishy-washy on. Maybe we'll talk about that a bit. I am really glad about the way it opened with that cool John 5 guitar figure. Really dig that. It's kind of actually, it's weird. Sometimes I just have these images in my mind of how I want a new song by a new lineup of a band to go. And I just kind of had that in my mind. And that's exactly what Motley Crue put out on this new song, Dogs of War. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it when it gets going. I definitely don't like the music video. It reminds me a lot of Bouncy Castle, that awful Tommy Lee solo track from 2022. Dogs of War, boy, it sure is. Great bottom end. I wasn't really able to hear that. I was listening on my phone. Weak Verses. New David Gilmour solo single. Yes, that is true. Vince is the weak link in Motley Crue. Yeah, well. Yeah, okay. So that is true. I'm a John Corabi fan when it comes to Motley Crue. But I do like John 5 a lot. I am always happy when a band moves on with a new lineup and they bring in an impressive kind of shredder on guitar, like Poison did with Richie Kotzen on Native Tongue. They did again with Blues Saraceno. I don't know who Tuck Smith is, Chris P. I'm sorry. And the New Warning. Yes. And I'm not going to try to pronounce that song, but it's got this real cool video that seems to be involving some kind of murder mystery or something and a wedding. And I really dig that New Warning song, and I'm going to have to get their new album. Chris P, follow him on Twitter. My Rock and Roll Heaven, I believe is the name of his Twitter handle. And if you ever want to know, keep up to date on some new releases coming out and also the anniversaries of releases. As far as I'm concerned, Chris P is kind of the authority. There's always those people who are going to post such and such an album, happy anniversary. It came out today on this day in whatever year. And then it turns out that day was a Sunday. You know, stores wouldn't even open on Sundays back then, that kind of thing. So Chris P is the guy to follow. And there it is for you to read. My Rock and Roll Heaven at Rock These Tweets. Highly recommended Twitter to follow, or X, or I don't know the terminology, honestly. And of course, Tim's Vinyl Confessions. Give him a follow on YouTube. Thanks for the shout out. You are very welcome, sir. And I don't know what I should do here. We have Jex Russell. You know what? Let's play a song. We'll be back in a few moments as we wait for Jex. This is just because he is a good man. This is the only reason. Like he could be like just bagging off work like other people may have been in the comments, but he's not. So let's play a shorty. This is Next Plane to Vegas by Max the Axe. We'll be right back.
I can't put my thumbs up. Crown Royal Apple. Slaint.
Not so
Okay, so Jex has sent me a message. He is delayed. I'm going to start, and then when Jex comes in, he will proceed with his lists wherever and catch up with me. And yes, that is a great hoodie that Uncle Meat is wearing in that video. That was Uncle Meat in lead vocals, not me. Okay, so I knew right away there were certain albums I was going to pick because of memories, strong memories that we have with friends, listening to tunes in the car with the windows down. And for my number 11, I kind of went with I don't know, something obvious, I guess. Although this version of the album might not be so obvious. It's a unique version, but this, of course, The Night at the Opera, and we know why. Technically, I kind of should have picked Classic Queen because that would have been the one that we were listening to back in the day. But I went with A Night at the Opera because of this cool edition that I have. 2-disc set plus a DVD with a 5.1 surround sound version. Now, imagine listening to A Night at the Opera in surround sound. In the car, you're not listening in surround sound. You're listening to stereo, but you get the full Night at the Opera album on a CD as well. There's Bohemian Rhapsody. And of course, I'm of that age. I did do the thing with my buddy Peter as we're playing in the car, you know. Everybody did that. Even Tim Derling did that. So we have some flaming of Jex going on the side. Second favorite cast members here. Hey, Roger. He's tied with Jex. Night at the Opera is a masterpiece. Of course it is. And Roger is in agreement there. But that was a phenomenon in 1992, Bohemian Rhapsody, because of Wayne's World. And, you know, the death of Freddie Mercury was an unfortunate circumstance that did serve to help raise Queen's awareness in North America. And I was into Queen. I was getting into Queen before that point. I was more discovering Queen due to some magazine articles that I was reading around the time of the release of the Innuendo album, which was their 1991 album. I was really, really into that title track, Innuendo, because it sounded a lot like Zeppelin to me, and I was really into Zeppelin in 1991, as were a lot of other people. So I started exploring Queen. Next thing you know, Freddie Mercury's dead, and there's this movie coming out called Wayne's World. I went to see it twice within the same 24-hour time span. We went to see it at a movie theater in Guelph. And hey, here was... Okay. So, long story short, yes, I did the Bohemian Rhapsody thing in the car with my buddy Peter on many road trips right to this place, on these very highways to this very location. And that is my number 11. We're going to do Jex's number 11 in the comments. I hope that Jex can be joining us today. It's not looking good at the moment. This might end up being a solo show. But Jex is always, if he's not with us in spirit, he is with us on this Grab a Stack of Rock shirt right there. That was a joke? Okay. Hard to find good help these days. Yeah, I agree. Maybe it would have been better to do the show with Roger. I'm going to open up my Jones soda to wet my whistle, because talking to oneself or to a camera, it does dry out the mouth. Yes, that was the shirtless Jex variant, which you can no longer buy, by the way. This is the only one in existence of shirtless Jex. If you want a Grab a Stack of Rock shirt, you have to get the regular version without shirtless Jex. Queen in general is made for rocking in the car with the windows down. This is so true. Shots fired. So I'm going to go ahead with my number 10 as we wait for Jex. My number 10. Okay, so again, there's a reason for this pick. That was cool. There's a reason for this pick. Two reasons for this pick, as a matter of fact. One reason is because this show today is dedicated to my late Uncle Paul, who died this past fall. And he used to cottage up here with us. His cottage, if you could see through that shed right there, you'd see his cottage. It's right past that shed. And Uncle Paul loved cruising with the Beach Boys. They had a lot of songs about cars. And that's what he liked, songs about cars. And we have on this one here, Little Deuce Coupe. That might be the only one about cars on here, but anyway, he loved all their songs, really. Kokomo is on here. He loved Kokomo. It was the 80s. It was a big hit. People diss Kokomo today. Come on. I remember the 80s. Kokomo, everybody liked Kokomo. Don't lie. Roger will jump on shirtless in lieu of Jex. Okay, Jex will be joining us in a few. So I'm going to stop. My number 10 is the Beach Boys, and this is dedicated to my late Uncle Paul. This is my first Cottage season here since he's passed. And it kind of hit me yesterday as we were pulling in that every other year I always knew he was still here at least, and it's the first year without him. And, every summer we would jump into his car and, you know what? I'm just going to go off screen and show you his CUDA. We jump into his car, not necessarily that one, but we jump into his car and we listen to music. And he loved the Beach Boys, and so did my late mother-in-law, Debbie. And this is actually her CD. And this is dedicated to both of them, Debbie and Uncle Paul. So that's pretty special to me. I'm not particularly a Beach Boys fan, but Jen is. Chris backs me on Kokomo. Henry had the CD of Endless Summer before he got the albums. Sweet ride, isn't it though? A lot of people have been asking to buy that car, I'll tell you that. Thank you, Tim. Both good people. Yes, and please tell me it's got an 8-track player. No, Tim, it's just got the everything on that car is original. So it just has the maybe it's just an FM radio. Who knows? Might be AM, FM, might be FM. I'm not sure, but it has whatever it is. It's all original. My uncle was meticulous, and he restored that thing back to original as much as possible. And it was a lot of fun to ride around in. Let me tell you that. It was a lot of fun. He actually sold that car at one point and then bought it back at another point. And yeah, we miss them both. So I'm going to stop at number 10 while we wait for Jex. So far, for my partner in crime in the 90s, Peter, we had Queen. And again, we went to the movie theater twice in 24 hours. To see this film. And we loved it. And I think I ended up seeing it 4 times in the theater overall. A good song is a good song. You know what to do. Everybody wants to buy that car. Yes, they do. We'll take one more look at it for Uncle Paul. That is a beauty of a car. So, as we wait Jex Russell, let's just scroll up in the comments here where he said he would be right with us. Hang on. And done. Be there in a few. So what I assume he's doing right now is putting on a shirt. So as we await Jex Russell, I'm going to go throw my junk in the fire from my packaging here. And hey, why don't we take another look at these awesome TeePublic shirts? I love the tie-dye. They're fantastic. There is the Grab-A-Stack gang in Lego form on a 2-sided tie-dye shirt. And if you want shirtless Jex, there's one way to get them. Only one way to get them, and it's right there. And also from TeePublic, we have Tim's Vinyl Confessions. 10th anniversary of Tim's Vinyl Confessions. Give him a subscribe on YouTube. We have Jex Russell. Oh my God. I can't believe we have Jex Russell. All right, one moment. Let's get him on the screen. Oh, wait, that's not right. Well, actually, you kind of deserve that, but there we go. Jex Russell.
Man, this is a rough crowd, man. Jeez Louise. Look, guys, let me tell you, when we make these afternoon shows here, I do them from work. And every now and then, I have to work. I think this is the first time. I was usually very much on time for these afternoon shows, but today I just couldn't for reasons beyond my control. But here I am.
And I can vouch for this. Jex has never been late on my show. Other people's shows I can't speak to. Maybe Tim's Vinyl Confessions. Maybe he has some other story. Yes, there is a that's
they're usually waiting on me. Not gonna deny that.
They're usually waiting on you. I have finished my coffee, and by the way, you can get these at tpublic.com as well. I have finished my coffee. I'm on to my Jones soda, and I have done my first 2 picks, which I believe you did see.
Yes, I was kind of half tuned in. Queen, A Night at the Opera,
and there was a Beach Boys.
Beach Boys something.
And the other thing I was going to tell you is I discovered I have 2 copies of this in the house, and therefore that makes this your copy.
Bring it on. That's awesome. I do have a Beach Boys compilation. It's not that one, though. I forget what it's called. 20 Good Vibrations, I think, or something like that.
You see Tim's comment there, eh? You saw this one here?
Yeah, that sounds very much like Tim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on. Notes are over here.
Notes. He's got his notes. I've got my notes. So we're ready to finally get. I don't think I've ever started a list this late, but that's okay. That's okay. We're fortunate just to have Jex. To be honest with you, we're having some fun razzing him, but we're just fortunate to have him. I mean, he doesn't have to be doing this at the end of his Friday. He doesn't have to be doing this, and especially considering that I'm basically punking him all summer by putting that picture on my shirt. That I wore this on Grant's Rock Warehouse last week. I'm wearing it again this week, and Jex again. Thank you, sir, for Rock the World.
Enjoy. Yeah, well, when you told me you were missing just that one song, I'm like, dude, you deserve this more than I do. I mean, so my gift to you.
Jax, without further ado, let's get it going, man. What is your number 11 song to play in the car with those windows down?
All right. So the first song I'm going to talk about, my number 11, is from a group that I know is not for everybody. In fact, I used to think that they weren't for me. Wasn't really a fan up until 2006 when this album came out and turned me into an instant fan. This is Stadium Arcadium from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And the song I picked for my number 11 is a little song called Snow. Hey-O, in parentheses. And I picked this song because I have actually blasted it with the windows down. So, you know, the proof is in the pudding. When that album came out, summer 2006, that was like my soundtrack. But that song specifically, Snow, my best friend Lucas and I would cruise around. I didn't have my own car, but I was driving my parents a RAV4. Windows down, snow blasting. And we did this thing. Hold on. We put our arm out. We put our arms out the window and do this.
Yes.
Which we would call car surfing. But when you think about it, it's not surfing at all, because in order to surf, you'd have to be, you know, on the roof of the car, Teen Wolf style, which we were not doing. But, you know, for us, this is just car surfing. And I have great memories of that. And that song, Snow, is just such a perfect song to play loudly in a car, because the bass from Flea is just so vibrating. It just vibrates the car when you turn it up loudly. It's like this boom, 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 and it's a great experience. And then you got the drums from Chad Smith that just kind of lead from the bridge to the chorus. You know, it's like a dung 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 dung, and then you got Kiedis going deep beneath the cover of another perfect wonder where it's so white as snow. It's yeah, I love it. This one's from experience. So it's going on my number 11. So there you have it.
Beauty. My only comment is I'm not too many songs about California, and the truth can be told. Jex was moonlighting on his other show that he does at 3:00 every Friday, which is the Topless Show.
Well, that's what the screenshot on your shirt is from. Last week's episode.
Anyway, number 10, Mr. Jex. What is your number 10?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to go straight into my number 10. This one my copy was just kind of too hard to access, so I just got a little printout for you guys. And I
I
won't go
can't
too
see
much.
it. There's too much glare. Maybe you can hold it
No,
close.
I haven't flipped it yet.
Oh, okay.
Wait, patience, young Mike.
Okay.
Patience.
Mm.
So this one, not a big story like Red Hot Chili Peppers, but it's just when this comes on the radio, it makes me so happy. This song means summer to me. It makes me think of summer, good times, fun, and it's by CCR,
Oh, good pick.
and it's Down on the Corner. When I hear that, bow, 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 you know,
You
maybe a
might have.
little later.
You
Maybe
might
a
have.
little later.
Henry
Oh, man,
watches.
I've sung that so many times. Sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner.
Not bad. He is not bad. He is not bad. So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I think Jex is basically he's going to be a performing monkey today because of the late tax.
the late tax. The late tax. Hey, I deserve it. I'm a fair guy.
Look at all these. We have so many comments right now. I can barely address them. But yeah, CCR has that Big Lebowski connection with looking out your back door. And I absolutely love that scene. He drops like a hot joint right in his crotch as he's driving his shitmobile.
He's
And
doing the boom,
yeah,
boom, boom.
yeah, that's the scene. Love that scene. And my wife absolutely loves that song. So she would be down with your CCR. I'm gonna let you also go number 9 because normally we would start with you. So I'm going to throw it back to you
Okay.
to go your number 9.
Okay, cool.
Oh, and
So-
Roger, by the way, would pick Scar Tissue as his Chili Peppers, and I have no issue with that. No
That's a
issue.
great song.
Yeah.
Great song, Roger. Okay, so this next song, my number 9, appeared on a 1975 album called Fool for the City. But full disclosure, I've never heard that album in full. But I'm familiar with the song due to its inclusion on the soundtrack of one of my all-time favorite films, which again, I couldn't access my CD, but here's a printout.
Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and Confused. The band is Fog Hat. The song is Slow Ride. Dude, that's a car song.
Yeah,
That's a car song. And you just, again, when my sister, I was introduced to that movie from my big sister in the summer of 98. And she got the soundtrack. And I remember driving to the beach in our parents' Jeep, and she was blasting the soundtrack, and Slow Ride. It's just perfect with the wind coming in, you know. And I remember us laughing because the car in front of us was actually a slow ride, taking their damn time. So we're like, this is perfect, man. This is perfect. And it's one of those when it comes on the radio, I need to pump it up. It up. Great guitars, great everything. I think that's kind of a common theme here is like where everything just complements each other. So yeah, without taking too much time, that's my number 9.
Dig it. Car song for your number 9. My number 9 is a recent pick. It's a recent pick. This goes back to the summer of 2023. Yes, last summer. And this is this record's second trip to the Cottage. Yes, that's right. Second trip to the Cottage for this record, because this record was the star of the show back in, I think it was July or August. We had Nurse Cat from Twitter on with Aaron from the KMA, and we did a show about the Arkells. She's a super fan who saw the Arkells like a dozen times in the last 3 years. I love this album. I bought a compact disc version for better play at home and for ripping to the car. In particular, we love the opening trio of songs: Fake Money, Come to Light, and Cynical Bastards. So upbeat. I could have picked a number of Arkells albums because we've been playing these guys in the car pretty much all year. For the last 12 months, we've been playing these guys in the car, all the albums. And I could have gone with any one of them, but I ended up going with My First Love. Isn't that always the way? And also, it has Jen's favorite song on it, which is called Leather Jacket. Right there.
Nice.
So, my number 9 is the Arkells High Noon. I would say, by and large, this is probably their best album for a rock fan to pick up and listen to and hopefully enjoy. They're coming to Kitchener this coming fall, and I hope to go and see that show, even though I will have to go solo. And in the comments, we have Best of Fog Hat with Henry Wright. He doesn't think he's listened to it all the way through. We may change his mind today. We may. And Tim is, of course, always coming in with the insight, pointing out the production value of a 1975 track. And he's right. It still
Agreed.
sounds pretty. It's got some beef. It's got some body.
Oh yeah, it's so clean sounding.
Roger is sleeping on the couch tonight.
Fact.
We're just going to leave that on the screen for now. Jax Russell, this brings us to number 8, your number 8 song to play.
Okay. So I just knew that somewhere on my list, I would have to include some AC/DC. I just had to.
Okay.
But then the question remained, which song? Right? So I started thinking, obviously, the first songs that come to mind are like the big ones, the radio songs, Back in Black, You Shook Me All Night Long. But I'm like, those are good songs, but those are like overplayed. So I don't know. I don't know about those. So then I start looking into their discography. I'm looking at the songs. I'm seeing a lot of good songs, but I'm like, are these blast worthy? Are these Windows Down worthy? So I'm looking, and then I get to the Razor's Edge, 1990, and I see the opening track, Thunderstruck, which once again overplayed, but I'm like, oh, that would be a good Windows Down, as overplayed as it is. Yeah, Thunderstruck. Well, there you go, great song, but I'm like, it's another radio single track. I don't know. So I started looking further into the Razor's Edge. Right. And then I'm reminded of a little song called Rock Your Heart Out. And I'm like, that's it. That's the one, man. Oh,
very fast.
oh yeah. Yeah. And I feel like it's a bit of I don't know if I'd say underrated, but underappreciated maybe as far as AC/DC's catalog go. Because that album, Thunderstruck, steals the thunder. Yeah. No pun intended, right?
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it's been in a million sports events, movies, whatever.
Yeah. And then, what else you have on here? Money Talks is another one that gets radio play. But there's some, like, for me, I always say the title track, Razor's Edge, so good, so underappreciated. But for this one, Windows Down, Rock Your Heart Out. And I remember, this is about 15 years ago on YouTube, somebody had synced the song to the music video of Apache by Tommy Seebach. And if you go watch the video, you'll see it's very, very bizarre, very old school. And they synced it to Rock Your Heart Out, and it worked like to a T. It was so synced perfectly. And I wanted to find it, but it seems to be long gone. That was 15 years ago. But you could find a lot of other songs synced to that video, like Jump by Van Halen was one of them. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. Rock Your Heart Out. Perfect song to blast with the windows down. AC/DC.
Wicked. And Tim pointed out that I was doing the riff from Fire Your Guns. I can't remember now how, off the top of my head, how the riff.
I felt like it didn't sound right, but sometimes when you're mouthing a song, it won't sound the same anyway.
Yeah. I was telling Roger the other day, Johnny Klauser was doing the Painkiller album on his show, on You're the Priest, on my music corner, and there was a guy there that was kind of like singing all the hooks, and I was like, man, I can't do it. I can't do it like that guy can. Like, I suck at singing the hooks.
Some hooks are harder to sing, yeah.
Okay, I'm going with my number 8, and this is going to surprise you because this is a rock album, but it's a story and a memory with my grandmother, who was turning 100 in a few months. So with my grandmother, I used to come to the cottage a lot. I would pick her up after work, and we would drive up on a Friday night together. And I would always listen to music in the car that I thought she wouldn't hate. I wouldn't be listening to Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, that kind of thing in the car with my grandma. But there's a Canadian, I guess I'm going to call him a pop rock band from your neck of the woods out there in Nova Scotia on the East Coast. And
I think I know who.
Okay. Let's see if Jex is right. If he's right, then he doesn't have to do any more performing today. This is a quartet, and one thing I like about this quartet is they have something in common with my favorite band of all time, Kiss, which is they have 4 lead vocalists. And I've seen them live. And the length of this album is exactly driveway to driveway, the length that it used to take to get from home to the cottage. That has since changed because traffic conditions have changed. But the band is Sloan, and the album is 4 Nights at the Palais Royal, a double live album, and one of my favorite double live albums. Aaron Stewart would appreciate this pick. It's basically a greatest hits from their first 4 albums. a heavy slant towards navy blues and one chord to another. Navy blues. Yeah. I like this album a lot. I think Sloan are great, although I haven't really kept up with their career so much since this time. But my grandma didn't hate it. It's kind of Beatlesy, a little bit harder edge than Beatles, but the melodies are very Beatlesy. They do a lot of that harmony singing. And for my grandma, who turns 100 this summer, we're doing Sloan.
That's
4
awesome.
nights at the Palais Royal. And we have comments. Okay, so everybody was guessing Haywire, but they're from Prince Edward Island.
Oh, okay.
Great Big Sea. Nope, not Great Big Sea. Not this boy. I've never really listened to Great Big Sea. And Money City Maniacs is great to crank in the car.
Agree. Absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
Henry first heard of Sloan from us. So there you go, Henry. That's a great album to start with. That was my first Sloan album, as a matter of fact. No, it was my second Sloan album, but same diff in a lot of ways because it was how I heard most of those songs the first time. Jex, you are good to go with your number 7.
All right. And I just want to say, I'm hearing the birds chirping coming from your neck of the woods. It's amazing. I love it, man. Summer is just around the corner, and I'm okay with that. I'm a summer guy.
Summer's here, and the time is right for dancing in the streets. You know what that is, Jex? You know what that is? That's called foreshadowing.
Oh. That could be so many artists have covered that song. That could be a number of different people. But I'm intrigued.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I wanted that.
Man, Roger's on fire today.
You beat me to it. Now you go ahead with yours. Mine's been ruined. Thanks, Rod. All right. So I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. And I'm gonna admit that this song made my list only because I listened to the album yesterday while I was working out. I'm like, okay, yeah, this song would qualify. The opener on this album would qualify as a windows down rocker. From Jonquière, Quebec. Do you know who I'm going with here?
I can't remember who's from Jonquière, Quebec.
Not many English-speaking bands from Jonquière.
It sounds familiar from when we did our Canada Day show, though.
Can't remember if they were on it. They might have been. But it's Voivod.
They did. Yes.
Right.
Yes. We had this conversation.
Okay. Well, the album is Nothing Face, and I'm going with the opener, The Unknown Knows. It's just right. It's just so fast, like da 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 da. It's like aggressive, but not too aggressive. It's just perfect. And what I like, just to talk about the album a little bit real quick, what I liked about this is my favorite Voivod album because I like the early stuff. It's very raw, very got a punk influence. And when they came to this, they kind of dropped that whole punk.
They did
feel and took more of a progressive approach, and it works, man. It works perfectly. I think it's a fantastic album. But that opener, The Unknown Knows, what a ride! What a ride! So my number 7, Windows Down, The Unknown Knows.
Big shout out to Eric Woods from Cinematic Sound Radio Podcast. But I don't know where Mitsu is from. That song could come up at some point because I really like Trapper's cover of it. Thanks for watching, Eric Woods. Second guess would be Men Without Hats. There you go.
I'm gonna actually look up where Mitsu is from while you go.
Dude, I love Voivod. I think I'm certain Voivod came up when we did our Canada Day show. Certain of it.
It could be. I think you might have. I don't think I did.
Yep, I think I did. Okay, my number 7. I'm really, really happy to talk about this album. And I got this album on cassette just under a year ago at Max the Axe's garage sale. You remember that episode from a year ago, right?
Yes, I do.
I brought this cassette because that's how we played it back in the car. Summer in 91. Man, I was a hellraiser. And I've written about this summer so much on my blog. So go there and enjoy it. But this is the summer that I am accused of conning my cousin into piercing his ear. Bob Shipper, my best buddy growing up. Bob Shipper showed up surprisingly. He just pulled in one day. He's like, I'm staying for the week. I just got a new job and I want to take a vacation before my new job starts. So I'm coming to stay with you guys for a week. And it's like, holy crap, my best friend's coming to stay with us for a week. And this was my last year my last summer before starting university, you know, so it was kind of like that time in your life where you're saying goodbye to old friends and saying hello to uncertainty, and you don't know what's coming in your future.
Yeah.
And I had all these really anxious thoughts about endless nights of homework and no friends and all this other stuff. So for Bob Shipper to come and spend that week was really special. And he brought this, and we jammed this in the car front to back, every song. His favorites were Decadence Dance, When I'm President. He loved When I'm President.
That's such a fun one to sing along to, man.
Yep. Pornography, the title track. Susie Wants Her All Day Sucker, he loved. He-Man Woman Hater, he loved. Wholehearted, he loved. And we jammed this. We blasted this thing to the point where I was like, well, I'm getting this as my next album. And I asked for it for my birthday on CD, and I got it for my birthday on CD. So I have actually never owned the cassette until Maxi Axe's garage sale last year. But we jammed it on cassette in Bob Shipper's car, and he was probably driving a Dodge Daytona that summer. And there's probably pictures of it on that blog that I'm talking about. We raised hell, man. We were in his car all the time blasting this.
Nice.
Then we went out in the canoe out to the lake. There's this big rock that was just like maybe 6 inches below the surface. And if you knew where to look, you could find it and you could stand on it. So we dropped anchor. We're standing on this rock way, way, way out. And I probably I will take the blame for this. I said, hey, Bob, let's moon the beach. So he's like, okay. And we dropped our pants and we mooned the beach, and we pulled our pants back up. And nobody could have seen us, I don't think.
You don't think?
I don't think. My dad said, you boys could have got arrested for that. And I'm like, it's kind of right. But that's what we did. We raised hell. And it was also the summer that we decided that giving the finger to people was kind of like equivalent to saying hello. And
what are you, Mr. Bean?
Exactly. We were literally like that scene of Mr. Bean where he's doing this. And I don't know. We were obnoxious, Jex. We were obnoxious.
You were young. We do dumb things when we're young.
I was turning 19. He was in college, starting this big job that summer, and we were cutting loose. And this was the soundtrack. Extreme 2, Pornography.
There's no dud on that album. It's all killer. I even like the ballads. I really
liked when it first came out. I really liked When I Kissed You, which has like record scratch. I think it might even be in mono. I'm not certain, but it opened my mind to new kinds of music because I'm like, well, rock bands like Extreme are playing this song in this kind of loungy style years before lounge was popular.
Yeah.
Or re-popular, maybe I should say. I thought to myself, maybe I should be listening to different kinds of music like these other rock bands are. And away we go. Roger with the sarcasm. Extreme 6 is so good. It was my number 1 album of 2023. And Tim's Vinyl Confessions did a 4-man review with Matt Phillips. And I can't remember who else. It was you, Tim, Will.
Yeah.
Yes. And that early Voivod stuff is cray-cray. I prefer Nothing Face.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste for sure. But I like it's like the origin story. Like it's where they started, right? So
they did a run of 3 albums that I think are pretty accessible. Nothing Face, Angel Rat, and The Outer Limits. Then they did their self-titled album later on with Jason Newsted.
Right.
Great album. So there's your Voivod content, Roger. I took a lot of time with my number 7. So we're going to number 6 with Jex Russell.
Yeah. I'm going to be kind of speeding things up because I got...
you got to get going?
Yeah,
okay.
Got to get going soon.
Okay.
I'm scrambling between work and family, guys.
Yep. This is all good. Roger, you are allowed to razz him, but let's get it moving.
So, okay, my number 6. I actually first heard this song. This might give it away for you, Mike. I first heard the song on an episode of Degrassi Junior High called Little White Lies. And there's a scene in that episode where Joey, Snake, and Wheels, they go to a strip club using fake IDs.
Of course they did.
When they walk in and confront the big bouncer at the door, there's this song playing. And I remember, like, as a kid, I saw that on reruns, like in 99. I was in my early teens. I was like, man, that's like a rocking song. Fast forward to years later, I buy a CD by a Canadian band called Coney Hatch called Best of Three compilation. I'm listening to it in the car, and the song from the strip club in the episode comes on my car stereo. A song from the Out of Hand album.
Great album.
Some Like It Hot.
I love that album. I love that song.
Oh, dude, it goes well with that scene too in the strip club. So now, obviously, when I hear it, that's all I can picture. Not a bad thing, but it's such a great song. It's such a great song. It's I don't know. It's just a feel good, good time rock and roll. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. If you're not familiar with it, Coney Hatch, Some Like It Hot from their second album, Out of Hand. Love it. Windows down, crank it.
Excellent. My number 6. This is its first appearance on Grab a Stack of Rock. First year of eligibility on Grab a Stack of Rock. Jex, it passed the test. It passed the test. The road test. The most important test of all. When a new album comes out, you take it on that first road trip. And I will tell you that Jen and I, we decided to start this year in style. And I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. I think there's no way this album will be topped for my number 1 album of 2024. Invincible Shield by Judas Priest. The new version, the deluxe edition. Beautiful cover art by Mark Wilkinson there. Pass the test, buddy. I think if I wanted to pick a particular song that really did it, it was Crown of Horns. Heavy is the crown of horns that rests upon this head. We're both singing today.
Why not? Why not?
You don't know until you give it that road test, because there's also a certain ear fatigue. There's a point of ear fatigue where an album that might be too long starts to wear on you in that car, but you're determined to finish the album. This has 3 bonus tracks. It didn't do that. The first of the bonus track, Fight of Your Life, kind of takes you back to a 1970s Judas Priest sound, and it's like an ear cleanse. It's like a reset. There you go. Invincible Shield, Judas Priest made my list after only, like 2 months of eligibility?
Yeah, that came out in March. Not even 2 months.
Not even 2 months. There you go. That's a pretty heavy endorsement for Invincible Shield, the new album by Judas Priest.
I still got to get it. I still got to get that one.
Okay, so yes, that was Andy Curran. Some Like It Hot, Andy Curran. Some of the new Judas Priest reminds me of Ozzy era Black Sabbath. Interesting observation, Henry.
Yeah.
That was me singing, Roger. And the Figaro, dude. Okay, Kermit the Frog. Fuck off. Okay, these guys are both banned forever. Jex Russell, your number 5.
Okay, my number 5. So, Mike, as you mentioned at the intro to the show, you recently sat with our good friend Grant Arthur on Grant's Rock Warehouse.
First Kick X.
Yes, that's right. You guys did a really, really nice career retrospective.
Thank you.
And it inspired my next pick, which is going to be Kick-Axe. But before I tell you what song, I first heard it, I was late to the party, 2011. I moved to Moncton, and I was often going to a little record store called Livewire, which was run by our friend Marty.
Yep.
Marty LeBlanc.
Marty LeBlanc.
And
known as Lemmy.
Right. So I see this compilation here, and I'm like, oh, this looks kind of cool. I like the cover. It's an all-out, where is it? An all-out Metal Assault.
And we're giving you a
try. Here. And as you can see right here, Kick-Axe.
Kick-Axe.
So I no idea who Kick-Axe was. So I bring it home, and I'm playing the record, and Kick-Axe opens up. Wait, where are they? I'm sorry, they're the second track. So side 2 opens up with In and Out of Love, Bon Jovi, which is not very heavy by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm listening to it. It's not a bad song. And then Heavy Metal Shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
Is the second track. It's also my number 5, by the way. That song comes on. And I don't know if you remember. It's just like, and then that.
Yeah, man. I mean, we talked about that drum opening with Grant on the show, and we talked about how it sounded so much like Frankie Banali from Quiet Riot.
Oh yeah, it's so echoey, and it's just so like deep, and then you have that scream from George Christen, and it's like, wow, what is going on here? And then shortly after, I found the album Vices, and I bought it based on that one song. But yeah, it's you crank that with the windows down, it's just like, well, if your windows are up, they're gonna shatter, because it's that scream is gonna shatter your windows alone. It's such a good heavy song, but catchy. And yeah, it had to make my list. So when I saw the Kick Axe show, it inspired me. I'm like, I need some Kick Axe on my list. And what other song other than Heavy Metal Shuffle? So there you have it, number 5.
Roger Stevens, I would like you to watch last week's Grant's Rock Warehouse, where we tackled the entire Kick Axe. You might like these guys, honestly. They're really good and Canadian.
Yeah, from Regina, Saskatchewan.
Right. Now, my next pick is not Canadian, but it is an artist that was mentioned in the comments. An artist that was described as resembling the new Judas Priest, and that is, oh yeah.
Oh.
Now, this is the Super Deluxe, which I didn't have back in those days. In fact, I didn't have this back in those days. What we had was a 3 CD compilation called the Ozzy Osbourne Years. Do you remember that thing? It was an American compilation. And the cool thing about it is it had Wicked World on it, which I don't think you could get Wicked World on the domestic version of the debut Black Sabbath on CD at that time in Canada. But you could get it on this Ozzy Osbourne Years set, which was basically all the albums minus the instrumentals. That was basically what it was. But
it's kind of weird.
Yeah, but it compressed all the albums onto 3 CDs. Yeah. And I shouldn't say all, because it didn't include anything from Technical Ecstasy or Sabotage or Never Say Die. Those 2 were excluded. It was the first 6.
So they should have called it the Aussie Years, except.
You know? The reason I picked this is because my buddy Peter, back in the summer of 92 or 93 or whatever summer it was that we rocked that CD set, we played Sabbath Bloody Sabbath in the car, and he liked to sync it up to when he was passing other vehicles. I will say that we were young and stupid, and he did not necessarily drive what I would consider safe. He had a beautiful vehicle. It had a Corvette engine. I couldn't tell you what the body was, but it was a custom thing. And right when Ozzy would shriek, "You bastards!" he would try to time that to passing the cars, and we would yell it out the windows as we passed the cars. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, my number 5.
Right on.
You're not judging.
Wait, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath? But you showed off Sabotage.
Shit, did I bring the wrong? I brought the wrong one. Well, here's Sabotage, which is a great one.
Yeah. There you go. It all works. You had the right band.
I had this stack of Sabbath box sets, and I grabbed the wrong one. It's bound to happen sometimes.
I didn't even clue in until you said it. I was like,
that's on the same box set. It just doesn't, like, it's the Ozzy Osbourne Years includes that stuff minus the instrumental. So it doesn't matter.
It all clicks. All right.
Number 4.
My number 4, this song, I mean, the title alone tells you everything you need to know. And I don't need to say anything. You all know this song. You all know this band. Like I said, it's in the title. Loud. I want to hear it loud.
Right between the eyes.
I love it loud. My number 4.
The makeup version. Remastered. The 1997 remaster with the makeup.
Yeah.
That is the original mix CD.
Correct. Yeah. They never remastered the 85, I don't think.
You are forgiven. Roger's going to complain. My number 4 is going back to the summer of 1996 with my good friend T. Rev Girdot, who co-hosted a couple of episodes of the LeBrain Train with me, and a little album called Load. This one also goes out to Roger Stevens, who's watching today. This was a great album for the car. I put it onto a cassette, and we would cruise downtown Kitchener with that thing blasting out of the windows. And Trevor is a drummer, and he loved to play drums in my car on his laps for the snare. And then he would use the floor as the bass. And he used to tell me that my Plymouth Sundance had a great bass pedal. He used to tell me that. And we played this thing all summer of 96, among other albums. There were others as well, but we both loved Load. And I don't give a crap if people say that it's not Metallica.
Keep going for a sec. I'll be 2 seconds.
Yep. I don't care if people say it's not Metallica. I don't mind Metallica doing rock instead of metal. And apparently Roger doesn't mind that either. another kind of important part about this particular album, and in fact, this very copy of this CD, is that this was my first year managing my own record store, which was the Fairway Road location of The Beat Goes On. And this CD goes back to that summer, buying it at my store that I managed, that, a few months into, my career as a record store manager. A few months in, this was the big thing, and it dominated my summer of 96. There you go. Jex Russell, your number 3.
Okay, my number 3. This is another artist. I'm like, I have so many of his albums. I have to include him somewhere on here. Again, this is an artist that not everybody likes. I like his music. I always have to say
I don't know where you're going with this.
I always have to defend myself. I always have to feel like I have to defend my taste. I like his music, not his political stances or anything like that.
I see where we're going with this.
Let's just make that clear. Of course, I'm talking about Nugent. The
Knew you were going there, yeah.
From the album Free for All, the song of the same name.
Oh, great song. Great song.
When that guitar kicks in. Oh, that is a car song. That is a windows down song. It echoes in the car. Yeah.
If I was picking a Nuge song personally, or a Nuge album, because I'm doing albums, if I was doing that, I would have picked Double Live Gonzo. I love that album.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good pick. I didn't even consider Live for this list, but yeah, for me, it could have been there was a few that come in mind, like Cat Scratch Fever is good and all, but yeah, I had to go with Free for All, one of my favorite Nuge songs.
I just want to say for the record that, I personally, I don't mind listening to Ted Nugent. I don't mix my politics with my music generally. You'd have to cross a pretty serious line and be a serious asshole for me to boycott your music. So I like Ted's music. He sings also songs about barbecuing. So I guess that's number 3, right?
Yes.
Okay, my number 3 takes me back to the summer of 2002. And a drummer from a band called Nirvana and another band called the Foo Fighters joined another band called the Queens of the Stone Age. And I remember my buddy Joe Perry, who worked at the Waterloo location of The Beat Goes On, was a huge Joe Perry's his real name. Yes, that's true. It was actually, yep. Okay, anyway, I've got lots of stories about Joe Perry, Jex. We will talk later, bud. We'll talk later. This is a PG-rated version of the show.
Oh, okay.
Joe Perry was a big fan of Queens of the Stone Age. Way before they were famous, he was following them from the start. It really pissed him off when a customer came in one day and he said, "Do you have that new side project of Dave Grohl's?" And he's like, gritting his teeth. Songs for the Deaf, to me, this is a concept album. This is a song that is a road trip. It starts with like somebody starting a car, very much like Detroit Rock City, shifting gears, turning on the radio, switching stations, finding the right station. And it starts with this, switching stations, like I said, and then it locks onto a rock station and there's a DJ and he's like, "We need a song that's a saga. Who's feeling a saga? It's songs for the deaf. You can't even hear it." And then this fucking great riff fucking explodes. And Nick Oliveri, if that's how you pronounce his name, comes in with his screaming lead vocals. I like Queens with Nick. I'm not the fan of this band without Nick. His lead vocals just made this band for me. I love that screaming style. This is a trip from start to finish. There's all kinds of different songs on it. It ends with a bonus track called Mosquito Song that kind of, you feel like you're pulling into your destination as the sun is setting and the bugs are coming out at night, and you need something mellow to take you down that long stretch, that last stretch of road. This is one of the best albums for road trips. I can't endorse this any more than I have, because I literally did this 22 years ago with the windows down, playing Mosquito Song as I'm pulling in, Nice. Here's my endorsement: Songs for the Deaf, Queens of the Stone Age.
I'm not really knowledgeable on the Queens of the Stone Age. I know them. I know some songs, but I never knew there were different lead singers. Like I know they had is it Josh
Homme?
Josh Homme. I never knew there was another singer.
Well, a lot of guys in Queens of the Stone Age sing. Mark Lanigan from Screaming Trees is also lead singer or was a lead singer of Queens of the Stone Age. I think that album has 3 guys singing lead. I think it has Mark Lanigan on a number of songs, Josh Homme on a number of songs, and the bassist Nick Oliveri on a number of songs, usually the most aggressive ones. And Henry likes the latter albums, and that's all good. They get a little bit more groovy, a little bit more dancey, and that's cool. This is more just Songs for the Deaf, just slams, mostly. Slams. Check it out.
All right. My numéro 2. So this album I received around the time that we got this idea for the show. So when you proposed this idea, that was fresh in my mind. So I'm like, oh, that's got to go up there. That's got to go up there. It's a loud, aggressive song. It's speed metal. It's from a band called Wrathchild America.
There it is.
The title track, Climbing the Walls, which opens up the album.
It's just acquired. You just got that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I got it around the time that you proposed the idea. So I was like, it's got to go on there. Like it opens up just full force, like dun, 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 dun. And then when it slows down a bit, like oh man, I can't even. Guys, go listen to that song.
So you know that air guitar bit that you just did. That's probably going to have to be the thumbnail.
Well, I'm hoping my goal was for it to make it in the intro. I mean, come on.
Do that. I do have to re-edit the intro at some point. Yeah.
I mean, but can you imagine? Grab a stack of rock. Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm giving you gold, Mike.
You are. Thank you.
Yeah, Wrathchild America, Climbing the Walls. All I'm going to say is go listen to it after the show, not now. After the show. Do it. It's if you like speed metal, thrash metal, it's fast, it's aggressive. Even in the lyrics, like there's stuff about driving fast and doing things to policemen. I'm not going to go into it, but it's aggressive and it's powerful. So perfect for Windows Down.
That reminds me of a question I had for you earlier that I was going to bring up. Did you take driver training when you were a young guy and got your license? Did you take driver training?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, so my driver training instructor in the in-class portion said, psychologically proven that fast music makes you drive faster. So I learned that, and sometimes when I need to just chill a little bit in the car, I take the Wrathchild America off. and I put on something a little bit more tame.
It is so true, too. I'll notice that, too. My foot gets a little heavier when my music is heavier.
There you go.
So it is fact. It is fact. Definitely. Yeah. I can vouch for that.
There you go. My number two. Dedicated once again to Uncle Paul. And this would have been the format that we played it on. And once again, Max the Axe's Garage Sale. I mentioned Dancing in the Streets a bit earlier on. There we go. My uncle really liked this album a lot. It had a lot of songs on it. Big Bad Bill of Sweet William Now. Especially that. Very important album to us growing up. I think this was summer of '89 that I got this from Columbia House. And not this copy. This is from Max the Axe. And I remember opening it up, and there was this picture inside. And I'm like, look at Van Halen playing to that massive audience. Like, they must have been the biggest band in the fucking world, And this picture, just look how cool they look.
Perfect. Yeah.
Roth. And look at Eddie. He looks so like, huh? What? He always had this innocent child.
He looks like he just showed up. Like they were already all lined up, all the three other guys, and then Eddie's just like, "What's going on?" Click.
I think Eddie was the kind of guy that he was able to live a life that allowed his inner child to be his outer self.
Yeah.
And it is a fun Van Halen album. A lot of people complain that it's mostly covers or half covers. The covers are what my uncle liked. He knew those songs. He knew Dancing in the Streets. He probably didn't know Where All the Good Times Gone, but he loved Pretty Woman. And that was a song I played at my wedding, my wedding reception. Yeah, Diver Down. My number 2, dedicated to Uncle Paul. A lot of people would say it's a weak Van Halen, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people complain about the length and how it's basically an EP. So it's barely a half an hour. But I think in that 28 minutes or however long it is, it's all killer. There's not a filler song on there. Like I like it all, even Happy Trails. Like that's such a great closer.
It is such a great closer, and that's another thing that he loved was Happy Trails.
Yeah. Well, Mike,
Numero uno. Numero uno.
Oh, numero uno, numero un. And
Numero-
Mike, I'm so glad that Diver Down was your number 2 because you gave me the perfect segue to go into my number 1, which is also Van Halen. This is fair warning, and I have talked about this when we did our Van Halen episode with Pla, and I can't remember where this ranked on it. I think it might have been my number 1 there too. Unchained. I was torn between 2 Van Halen songs. It was either going to be Unchained or Ain't Talking About Love, because I find they both have that perfect car, stereo feel.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We got to get Grant on real quick here. Grant, buddy, where'd I put the kick axe? Jex gave me the kick axe. Go to Grant's Rock Warehouse. I'm sorry, I'm fucking this up. Go to Grant's Rock Warehouse. Grant, I got the kick axe. He sent it to me. Go to Grant's Rock Warehouse. Sorry. Go ahead, Jex.
Where was I?
I don't know. Number 1. I fucked up.
Unchained.
I was just so excited to see Grant because we were talking about him all day.
Good to see you, Grant. I was saying it was going to be Unchained or Ain't Talking About Love. Two songs that are perfect for the car stereo, but I went with Unchained because there's the kick axe right there. Because it is one of my favorite Van Halen tracks, and it's just like you said, that opening. It's just everything is perfect. So
shit is getting loose. Thanks for tuning in, Grant. I'm about to finish up with my number 1.
Yeah.
Jex, I got a question for all you people out there. I know you people know what is my favorite band.
Is it perchance Kiss?
Well, I'll tell you something, people. Right from when I was a little child, I love listening to this album in the car. Now, I know lots of you people out there got Kiss Alive. Jex has got Kiss Alive. Tim's got Kiss Alive. I had to listen to this on vinyl when I was a kid. I originally had vinyl. I recorded it to a really shitty sounding cassette, and I had to listen to that in the car. But when it's Kiss Alive, it's Kiss Alive. Finally, I got a CD copy of it and 2 vinyl copies today. This is a reissue.
I have the same. I have the exact same reissue, Back to Black.
It's a great reissue, of course. What can you say about one of the greatest live albums of all time? And yes, I know, trolls out there, it's not really live. I know that. Roger's got Kiss Alive. There you go. How dare you leave me out? Sorry, Roger. But yeah, like, what can you say about this album? It is a great road trip album because it is nonstop. It is go, go, go. It is arguably the best versions of each of these songs. Arguably. I might not have thought that when I was a kid, but I definitely think that now. I'm saying it. That's what I think now.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one song off of Kiss Alive to do with the windows down, let me go. Rock and roll. Nice. It is just, that's highly adrenalized. That is rock and roll the way that I like it. And I also promised I would show 8-track. And this is my very first 8-track. Came from Jeff Steven from the 1002nd album on YouTube and iTunes and everywhere else. This was a gift from him. I can hear something rattling around inside, so I know there's something broken. But Kiss Alive on 8-track, completing all 4 formats that we were going to look at today.
If I had to blast a song from Alive, probably be Parasite.
Oh, man. Yeah. And that had, yes, this is the album that broke Kiss to the next level. And it was a last ditch attempt by Casablanca Records. They were going broke. And they're like, we can rush out a live album. And then ended up being the smartest move they could have done. And it is good to know that Grant was happy with the Kick Axe show in the warehouse. Please, folks, check it out. Grant's Rock Warehouse on YouTube. We did the entire career of Kick Axe to the very first single, Transformers movies, all that stuff to the present day.
Well, I don't know how long Grant has been tuned in, but Grant, in case you missed it, that episode inspired my number 5, Heavy Metal Shuffle.
Heavy Metal Shuffle. Jex Russell, I know you were in a hurry. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day today and enjoying and enduring all the razzing that we gave you. Really appreciate it. You can give us any of your time.
Hey,
Before we
my
go,
pleasure.
all mine. Before we all mine. Before we go, is there anything you want to plug? You've got jexcaliber.wordpress.com where you post roughly every week.
Yeah. You can find my stuff there. Nothing this week. Like I said, I've been kind of on a creative standstill. Not a whole lot going on creatively because I got a lot going on in my personal life. But I'm tuning. I'm gonna be plugging out some stuff as much as possible. So definitely stay tuned. I appreciate everyone's support and patience because I know I can't publish new stuff as much as I'd like to, but I appreciate everyone's understanding and patience. And I will be back soon. I promise.
This guy here, Jex Russell, is a quintessential Canadian. He's apologizing for not giving you enough free content from his own personal time. He's apologizing for it. Oh, Canada, baby. As for me, we have a special show coming next week on Grab a Stack of Rock, which will be 7:00 p.m. next week. We have, for the very first time on the show, we have Todd Evans from the Contrarians, and we have Uncle Meat returning, and we are going to be talking the top 11 Marillion albums. Now, with those two guys doing a top 11, this is going to be a long show. So get ready, folks. As you know, we always like to go out on a song, and today, why don't we pick, I don't know, what do you want, Jex? Jex's choice.
You always ask me that, and I never remember what you have in your catalog.
You like Max the Axe, though.
I like Max the Axe. What's the I gotta?
Oh, God's on the Radio. Okay, that's what it is. We're going to play God's on the Radio.
Awesome.
Uncle Meat on lead vocals. He will be on next week to talk Marillion with Todd Evans. We're going in, and we are doing a full-on top 11. Next week on Grab a Stack of Rock. jexcaliber.wordpress.com. You're watching me on YouTube right now. Please hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Don't miss an episode. Take care, everybody. Have a great Friday. This is God's on the Radio by Maxi Axe. One love.
Fuck off.
God's on the radio. You got Buddha on the audio.